So over the last week, we've looked at 3 ways to get good at playing fingerstyle blues: learning new tunes, turning those tunes into complete songs, and starting to improvise on those songs. Now, fingerstyle blues can seem like a particularly mystifying art form, probably because at any given moment we're trying to do at least 2 things at the same time. And so if you don't know what to work on or how to work on it, it can be particularly frustrating because nobody wants to waste their valuable practice time just looking for the right lessons in the first place, or working on things that aren't going to help, or just feeling stuck like you're still playing the same things that you've always played. So in these last few lessons, I wanted to show that there are like concrete, doable things that you can work on to move your playing forward. Now, of course, blues is a creative and expressive art form, and that is the ultimate goal. But it's hard to express yourself if you don't have the tools to do so. So by breaking fingerstyle blues down into these specific areas of knowing the tune, developing the song, and creating licks and improvisational ideas, that gives you a way to sit down and go, oh, well, here's where I'm at. Here's the thing I'm not quite able to do yet. These are the things I can work on to get good at that thing so that I can then move on to the next thing. And so I really believe it's possible to get better at a creative art form by working through these concrete things in a step-by-step way. It doesn't seem, it's not as glamorous as just waiting for a spontaneous outpouring of emotion. It's not as romantic as waiting around for the muse to put in an appearance, but it's something that you can sit down every day and do and feel like you've had a chance to put in the work and feel your playing moving forward through this regular, ongoing practice that is designed specifically to help you get where you want to go. Now, if that sounds like something that could be helpful to you, if you've been looking for an ongoing, organized way to develop your playing, let me take a moment and tell you about my membership, the Fingerstyle 5, which was designed specifically to help fingerstyle blues guitar players learn new tunes, build their repertoire, and start to improvise. So the purpose of the Fingerstyle 5 is to give you regular, ongoing access to these step-by-step, repeatable methods for learning each tune, turning that tune into a complete song, and starting to improvise on that song. So in a typical month, you would get the tune the first week, so a fundamental or basic arrangement of the tune itself and an embellished version of that tune. The next week, you would get some improvisation materials for that tune, a few scales, a few ideas for what kind of phrasing to use with those scales, and a few sample solos that I've written out to show you what it would look like to put all that into action. And then finally, in the third week of the month, you would get a few vamps and a couple of shout choruses to work on and some specific suggestions for how to put those together with the fundamental and the embellished version of the tune, and maybe a solo, whether it's using one of the written out solos or one of your own, to start creating your own complete arrangement of the tune. Now, as far as what all of that actually looks like, each month you'll get 3 different kinds of material to help you work through that month's song. There will be short videos of just the tune itself, so you can go straight to where I'm playing the tune and check that out. I'll play through the tune slowly so you can really see all the moves and fingerings, and then I'll play through it up to tempo so you can hear what it's supposed to sound like. And I'll do that for both a fundamental and an embellished version of the tune. There's also a downloadable PDF every month, anywhere from 25 to 30 pages, that includes the notation and tab and scale diagrams and everything else that I'm going to be talking about in the lesson, so you have that as a resource. And finally, there are 3 live streams every month, one for every week of topics. So we'll do a live stream about the tune itself and how to take it apart and put it back together and make sure that you've got the groove going on. We'll do a live stream where I'll present the improvisation material, and finally a third live stream with all of the vamps and shout choruses and a discussion about how to put all the pieces together to start making your own arrangement. And all of the live streams are immediately archived afterwards. So if you can't be at the live stream, you can always watch the replay, and those live streams remain available for you for as long as you stay a member. Another important resource in the membership is the private community forum. I've never actually done a Facebook group or any other kind of public group for the teaching I do, but inside the membership, we have this forum for everybody who's part of the Fingerstyle 5. And it's a really great place to ask questions about the things you're working on. You can post your work via video or audio, and you can even get feedback on your work in progress from other members in the community. Fingerstyle guitar is, by definition, this solo art. We all tend to spend a fair amount of time on our own, working kind of in isolation. So it's really nice to have a place to go where there are other people who get this style of music, who are working on the same tunes pretty much at the same time, to whom you can go and say, hey, you know, what about this voicing? What about this fingering? And be around people who have worked through a lot of the same things that you're working on as you go through the monthly material. And this raises another point, which I think it's really important to emphasize, which is that there are all different levels of players in the Fingerstyle 5. It is not just people that are totally fluent at Fingerstyle already, that are already working on improvisation. I just did a survey recently of the people in the membership, and there are a lot of people who spend much of the month simply working through a fundamental arrangement and getting that tune under their fingers. There are a lot of people who look at the improvisation material to get ideas, but then basically put worked out things into their arrangement. So they'll take a vamp and an embellished version and a shout chorus, and then maybe take one of those solos that I've written out as an exercise and put that in their tune as their solo. So what I'm trying to say is you can approach this material at whatever level is right for you. If you're working on putting together your thumb and finger coordination and getting your groove together and just getting some of these essential tunes under your fingers as tunes, you can use the membership that way. If you're ready to start building some tunes into songs using the materials that I've laid out, you can do it that way. And if you are ready to work on adding some licks and improvisation and ideas to your arrangements, there's material to do that as well. A lot of people who are working on some of the more advanced material still don't get it all done in a month. I see all the time people posting like, hey, I finally got this song done. I've been working on it for a few months, and so now I'm going to post my version. So there's all different levels of musicians in the membership, and there are all different ways to use the material. The idea is to give you a regular, consistent way to work on this kind of material in a way that as your skills grow and your abilities increase, you can come back to that material again and again and keep building what you can do with an individual song and keep building your general skills for what you can do with songs as you learn them. And finally, I want to point out the advantage of having an archive of past material. When you join the Fingerstyle 5, the emphasis is on giving you new material each month so you have something to look forward to working through, and so you have new challenges, and seeing those new challenges in the context of a step-by-step repeatable process, so that as you get each song, as you get into it month after month, you're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this with the song like we did last time. Oh yeah, we're going to do this with the song next, because that's how we're going to develop these tunes. But at the same time, we've been doing this now for 2.5 years, and so there is an archive of past material that you can also go and access. So when you sign up now to start working on the new material, you're also gaining access to over 24 additional public domain tunes, some original blues tunes that I've created in the style of some of my TrueFire lessons to give you some more contemporary and jazz-inflected blues things to work on. You've got all those past PDFs with everything notated. You've got dozens of past live streams where I walk through things step by step. You can see people asking the kind of questions you might have about this material. So there's all of that to look at. There are also several special topics where I took a month and instead of doing a tune, we did a deep dive into One time we did slide guitar, we talked about accompaniment, we looked at chord substitutions, we spent some time looking at Freddie Green chords. So there are all these other things you can do a dive into. So that archival material comes with your membership and always gives you something to work on. So if you are like, well, I'm not really into this month's tune, there's plenty of other tunes you can go and look at. And then when you go to the forum to talk about that tune, you'll find dozens of people are like, oh yeah, I worked through that tune and this happened when I worked on it and I posted my version here and yeah, here's that tricky thing about that tune. So it's a complete, I haven't counted it up lately, but it's somewhere between 50 and 60 additional hours of material that you can go rummaging through to look for other things that you want to work on if you feel like it. So between the community forum and the live streams, you've got a lot of ways to get your questions answered so that you don't feel like you're just being handed this material and then left on your own to struggle and figure out what to do with it. Because the way I try to structure each of the 3 live streams each month is to spend no more than 25 or 30 minutes presenting the material so that we have at least a half an hour for questions and answers after that. So if you can attend the live stream when it's happening, you can post your questions in the chat, but the majority of people actually end up watching it on replay. And so I'll post when the live stream is going to happen a couple of days ahead of time, and there's space in the forum to ask questions in advance. So if you're wondering how to work on something, you can post your question, and then during the live stream, I'll try to get to as many of those pre-posted questions as possible, as well as answering the questions that happen in the chat. So the cost of the membership is $29 a month, and that includes all of each month's material, the videos, the live streams, the PDFs, plus access to the community forum and access to the entire archive of past songs and lessons. You can go to the link below or the link on screen to sign up. As soon as you register, you'll get a confirmation email and an email with your new login and password information so you can get immediately inside the site and start checking it out. Now, I try to keep things really simple. There's no annual commitment. You basically are going to be paying month to month, and you can cancel whenever you want to. So there is one other feature of the membership that's brand new that I'm pretty excited about, and that is the weekly practice planner. Now, the whole membership is built around this idea of a monthly rhythm of new material and then that material being presented in weekly increments, so it's always really clear what to work on and when to work on it. But because everybody is working at their own level, I thought it would be really cool to introduce some practice tools to help you focus on exactly what it is you're going to work on in any given week. So the weekly practice planner is designed to help you get clear about what you're working on each week and why you're working on it, and to make sure that as you work on things like technique and learning the fingerboard, that you're doing so because it's going to help you learn the pieces of repertoire that you're working on. So there's nothing worse than just working on exercises without really knowing what they're for. This practice planner helps you sort of reverse engineer your practicing so that if you're working on particular rhythms with your right hand coordination, or you're working on learning particular scales or voicings on the fingerboard, that's driven by things you need to improve to be able to play the current tune you're working on better and better. Actually, there is one thing that's worse than practicing stuff without knowing why you're working on it, and that's that looming feeling that you should have practiced today, but you didn't, or you haven't practiced for a while. This practice planner is designed to help break that feeling of not having practiced, or that when you sit down, there's just so much to do that how could you possibly find time? It's based on spending just a little bit of time every day, maybe 20 minutes, 30, 40 minutes tops, just to make a little bit of incremental progress every time you sit down to play. So if you felt frustrated trying to find the right lessons, if you've known what you want to work on but weren't sure how to work on it, if you felt stuck, like you've been playing a lot of the same things over and over for a long time, the Fingerstyle 5 membership offers you a clear, organized, ongoing way to change all that through learning new tunes, turning those tunes into complete songs, and starting to improvise on them. If that sounds like the kind of change you're looking for, go to the link below or the link on screen to sign up and start getting good at fingerstyle blues.